Hello everyone and welcome to TTOPP Talks. I'm your host Split Second for this, and today with us we have Torrentails.
Howdy, howdy.
We have Card Shark.
Hello.
And we've got the indomitable Summerfree.
Summerfree.
How's it going?
How's it going, guys?
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy. Alright, now today we've got an interesting talk, and we'll be calling this particular podcast Competitive Decks, Primers, Prices, Oh My.
Oh my.
Indeed. So I suppose the first thing that we should probably talk about are competitive decks and their primers.
Indeed. So, I guess our main focal point to get this topic off the ground, should people playing in a local play group define their own decks as being able to be unbeatable? And should they have to give evidence supporting these claims? Or do you think otherwise? So, I guess we'll start with you, Split Second. What do you think?
I actually have strong feelings against whether or not people say their decks are unbeatable.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people I find generally go out of the way and say, this deck is unbeatable, it can't be beaten. And for them, I say, no. There is always a deck that can beat an supposed unbeatable deck.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I just feel it's a bit presumptuous is all.
A bit egotistical, I guess you could say.
Yeah. As for defining it amongst the playgroup, it might work in one playgroup, but I'm sure another playgroup could always come up with something that's even more unbeatable.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's meta is different, so what works for one place is going to be different for someone else.
I find that's the case most of the time, especially since, you know, I'm in a different state to you and our meta is completely different from yours.
Yeah, that's it. I think this was a question that was actually posed by Funky Phil, but I think what he was meaning to say is we've had a couple of cases before where someone's gone around and toted a deck as being not so much unbeatable, but winning almost consistently, and we've looked at it and it's gone, well, how is this possible? It's not winning consistently whenever we try it and things like that. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, I had similar experiences with One Pace. When One Pace was first revealed, I tried it out with Summerfree over here, and interestingly enough, I found it worked about 70% of the time, but there was always that time where you just drew into a dead hand and your combo just stopped dead.
Yeah.
And then it was really hard to pick it up again.
It's about luck of the draws most of the times, because I can say, I have a not a really top tier deck, but I have quite a strong deck, and I can still get beaten by, just drawing a bad hand.
Yeah, that's always the way.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same with any deck. I mean, at the end of the day, you could have a deck that's statistically proven to be very strong. However, there's that one time you don't get the cards you need at the right time, and just it goes pear shaped.
Yeah.
I guess going on as the part two for that question there, if you were going to post up one of these primers on, say, Reddit, for example, and you toted it as unbeatable, how much evidence would you say would be enough, not enough, or to justify such a claim? We'll start with you this time, Summerfree.
Well, the definition of unbeatable is 100% success rate, and I don't think anyone has the right to say this deck has won 100% of the games I've played.
Yep.
Maybe if you're playing against a weaker meta, just new to the game.
Yep.
Sure, you have a stronger deck than them, but when you take it up to a higher level, you need to have, let's say, you need to be coming first in every major tournament in a year to say it's unbeatable.
Yep. No, that's fair enough. Split Second, we'll go back to you there.
One thing I've actually found about most of the primers on Reddit is they don't tout it as being unbeatable. But if someone did, and the amount of evidence required to prove it, even if you said this deck has been winning consistently since for the past year and a half, I still would say that it's still beatable. I mean, the only reason why One Pace and Dragon Express and all them were classified as unbeatable was mainly because it was a one-turn kill.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point there. Torrentails, you seem like you got something to say about this.
I think a lot of these people going around saying the decks are unbeatable, I mean, they're not claiming that it's completely unbeatable. They do expect to lose sometimes because there are bad draws. But they're saying it's winning quite consistently enough that it could be considered a tier 1 deck. And we're looking at some of these decks and going, well, no, that doesn't look like a tier 1 deck. We try them out and they consistently losing, to be honest. And we've had some people in the past who have claimed these and even stuck to their guns, even when we point out the flaws with it. And a lot of other people have been pointing out flaws. So I know in particular Funky Phil's actually been quite annoyed at some of these people. We've been more laid back. But more on that, on the primers themselves, is forgot what I was going to say now. I lost my train of thought, but that's all right. I'll get back to it.
So I guess I'll interject there. In terms of more of a generalization of primers, I find that they generally fall into two categories. One, just a straight up deck list. Okay, have a look at this, guys. This is what it does. It's supposed to do for troublemakers. The other kind of part of the spectrum is you have primers that are, a couple pages long easily, and they describe the ins and outs, why each card is in there for specific reasons, and as well as a deck list, and they, in terms of what you're looking for in opening hands, your mid, early, and late game strategies. Do you reckon it's necessary to go into that much detail? This is like a general question if anyone would like to start off here. Yeah.
Okay. When I build decks, I always go around to saying that a deck is only as good as a pilot of the deck, so the person that plays it. When I build a deck towards what I like to do, and therefore the deck tends to work better when I play it than compared to when Split Second borrows my deck.
Yep.
And the way I build decks may not be the same way or the way I play decks may not be the same way other people will play a deck.
Yep.
I mean, that's something I've found as well, as I've tried a couple of decks online, and I found that I'm generally a much more aggressive player than some people would like me to, and the primers, I go back and I read them as like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be a bit more conservative with this, and so on and so forth, and that's why it's not working for me.
I actually like a number of the primers, I'm sorry.
They're pretty good.
Me personally, I love the long primers because they go into reasons why they've taken out certain cards and put them in, how the game is how the deck is supposed to take the game and all that. And I find that is essentially a glimpse into that particular person and how they structure their decks.
Yeah.
That said, I've also found out that the primers are really, really good for the beginners, those who want to play at a competitive level, but aren't quite sure how to construct their decks properly. And it's just that sort of little step that they need to say, okay, if I play this deck, then I can participate in a competitive format and see exactly how everything interacts in that format.
I think that's a very good point to make there. And I think it must be working. I mean, the reason I say that is, well, as Interplay puts up on their Facebook page every once in a while, is a deck list. Generally, they're more catered to the cheaper side of things, a bit more different, I want to say. Different kind of strategies.
Not meant to be competitive.
That's correct. Yeah. But it's good that they're putting their hat in the ring to help encourage new players that might not be wanting to go competitive, but they might want just a foot in the door.
Yeah. Well, a lot of new players have struggle because they buy the trial decks and then sort of go, okay, now I want to build my own. What are good numbers? What do I do?
Yeah, that's a good question with a lot of people asking. It's something that's hard to answer and it varies from deck to deck. So that's where the primers help out. But also going back to what you were saying before about, basically getting in the head of whoever built the deck. That's quite invaluable, that information as well, because it's not just about getting in the head of one particular person. It's about getting in the head of the meta in general, particularly their local meta, but also a lot overall meta. Like some of the more wordier primers have been built from decks that have gone in major tournaments and come out on top or near top. So it gives great insight if you're willing to read through them, rather. So yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off. I mean, the longer they are, the less likely people are willing to read them.
I understand that. And as I said, it's just me.
A bit bored. But yeah, that's it. It's everyone's opinion, and I think the long primers are definitely a valuable tool, and I really would hate to see them go away. But in the same sense, I'd like to see a couple of shorter primers as well, just to, so we can get a quick overview of what this deck is, what it's supposed to do, so we can say, okay, that's a cool idea. I might, build something around that.
Yeah, and I think one of the best length ones were probably the early white decks. Oh, what was it? It was the white-yellow deck.
Boron Blitz?
Yes, that was it.
Yeah.
Sorry. The early version of the primer for that I found was actually quite good because it provided...
it's good length.
Yeah, it was a good length, and it basically said, here's the core, and here's how it's supposed to work. Here are recommended cards to fill out the rest of the 45.
Yeah, it was a bare bones primer.
Yeah, and...
Now let's all take it to nationals.
That's it. Which we did, and yeah,
I
turned out well.
I didn't make it to nationals. I took my Applejack villains.
Rebel. But it's in stark contrast to some of the primers now, which are so long that you can't fit them onto the Reddit post. So
and then you go into Google Docs and all that.
So it's quite a contrast there, but both are good in both ways, and quite frankly, they should both be around. And if people want to read the long ones, they read long ones. If they want to read short ones, they read short ones. If you're a really competitive player, you'll pretty much be reading both and learning from everything there.
That said, it should be pointed out that the way we're tackling it is we're saying that they should be used as a stepping stone to making your own decks and not as a crutch.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a nice point to end that topic there. Moving on. Card prices. Are they justified, or is inflation and profiteering going overboard for ultra rares and foils, in particular promos that people may have not access to? I also want to add into this question here. Do you think the conversion rates amongst players in other countries that aren't prime sources for these cards that we don't get, hypothetically the Lady Justice promos that come out recently, the Rainbow Dash Winged Wonder promo is also another good point. You got a good funny look on your face here, Torrentails. I'm gonna start off with you here.
This is something I actually had a big long rant about on Reddit, I think it was a while ago. And I fumed at a lot of these things because I've seen this in card games all my life, all the time I've been playing cards.
Yeah.
One particular country, usually the USA, sometimes it's Japan for, say, Yu-Gi-Oh! They get particular promos, or they get access to cards and things like that that aren't available anywhere else and aren't made available officially anywhere else. So, it came around here and we got the Cloud Chasers, the foil Cloud Chasers. Were supposed to be store promos. We never got them.
Applejack Farm Format, we never got here.
Still haven't got an Australian release for that one, do we?
Yeah, that's it. And there was one particular case, was the Derpy BronyCon exclusive. There was only 500 available at BronyCon, and they were charging like $30 to get it, as well as the mat. But in order for us to buy it, it was $150 anywhere else. So you had people who were going there, bringing their friends along, their non-card game playing friends, getting a whole bunch of these promos and just selling them off for, huge amounts of profit. It kind of sickens me a little bit. And it annoys me. I don't want to rant too much about it because otherwise I get really mean. But I can do that. But it annoys me that not so much that the players are taking advantage of this because that's the way it's set up, but more that, the companies are basically letting this happen. Our nationals, for example, we just got the leftovers from the other national championships. If we didn't have it if we actually had our nationals earlier, we wouldn't have had a nationals, or at least we wouldn't have prizes for it. So we were lucky we even got something, let alone something or anything. So it really annoyed me that. Having said that, I understand that properly global with something like this is hard to do and a lot of resources. But it's still something that I feel Interplay could be doing a little bit more towards. I don't know what exactly, but I'm sure there's something. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say. I could go on and on and on all night about it, but that's all I'm going to say.
Split second, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I play a number of card games, and I have played card games for years and years and years. And card prices are always something that I've never been a big fan of. But that's me personally. I can understand why some people would do it, but I suppose the best thing to do is call them hawkers. Really annoy me. The people who go out of their way to go and get a card for really cheap, say about $5, and then sell it to the next person for $17.
Well, that was the Rainbow Dash Wing Wonder. People were getting for free. Yeah. Card stores were giving them out, and then they were selling it to us for $20.
Yeah, and that honestly,
yeah.
But that said, some of the prices, but that's for promos and everything like that, and promos are supposed to be hard to get, or at least challenging.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be a $3,500 plane ticket to get.
No, and it is kind of sad that we, being in Australia, so far away from the land of the free, so to speak.
Okay, fair enough.
It does kind of hurt us a bit, and I can understand why they're focusing more of their effort on the American market than
that is their
anywhere
home
else.
Country, so it makes sense. But...
Yeah. That said, that's just about the promo cards. We've also got some of the other cards like Queen Chrysalis and all them who have, I suppose you could say exorbitant prices, but
yeah. I guess
cards and prices don't really mesh well with me. I tend to, like Torrentails, I could probably rant about why they're good and why they're bad and still say that I don't like it, but end of the day, I'm going to have to suck it up because that's the way it works.
That is the way it is. If we want to play this game, that's just how we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Summerfree, you've been quiet. What are your opinions?
Well, specifically Primacy, I also come from a card game background. MLP is not the first one I played. And I actually collected a lot of primary cards for other card games. And I actually do enjoy collecting, even, spending a few dollars to, a few $100 getting a certain card. I find it quite fun, even though that I am in, Australia, where it's a lot harder to come by. I know with one particular card game, there's a specific PR that cost, I think $60, and place it at 4. And thank God I saw all those cards before they actually released the card as a normal card, though. So, but I do enjoy collecting, and it's more about the especially this PR reprints. It's more about vanity than actual accessibility, because Cloud Chaser, you can get Cloud Chasers, you can put them in your deck. They're rare cards, they're easy to come by. If you want to, I bring you a deck with a lot of bling, then you use the PR versions, which is just, I'm foiled. Yay. It's not much of a difference. You have access to that. What particularly hurts the card game, or this specifically, what I think, are cards that are only released as PRs. So we're talking about Farm Formers and Defenders of Equestria. These are very, very powerful cards for Orange, and they're locked behind a bit of a paywall.
Yep, that's fair enough.
Well, Card Shark, I know you're a collector. You're specifically trying to get every card in the game.
I am.
So, what's your thoughts on all these prices?
You know what? I mean, I think I can understand why they are so expensive. Do I like it? It all depends. And to be honest, I kind of like the hunt. And it makes me sound like a bit of a sadist, but I love... But you look on Google and eBay and all those kind of sites and Facebook. You're like, oh look, he's selling a card for such and such. I grabbed it. I just bagged a bargain. And
that's fair enough.
I enjoy that, and I can understand why some of them go for so much prices. I mean, for example, the Farm Formers. I managed to get 4 of them back before the Australian Nationals even happened. and I got them for a steal. I got 3 for $20.
Wow.
Now, you look at that
Okay.
price tag today, and you think, "Wow, I just got a gold nugget." In terms of URs, ultra rare cards that are quite expensive. Again, your really rarity, truly outrageouses, your Nightmare Moons,
Your Applejacks.
Applejack Carbo Loaders, yes.
Yeah.
God.
I don't have a problem with that, and the main reason being is they're good cards, and they're hard to come by. So I believe the price justifies. If you really want the card, you're going to go out there and spend that kind of money. It's as simple as that. If you don't want the card, you're going to hope and pray you pull it out of a booster pack. So, in terms of, because I've heard a couple of people, get a bit annoyed that Rarity Trade Razors in particular is so expensive. And again, I can understand why she's expensive, and I stick to my statement that if you really want a playset or to complete your collection, you're going to go out there and you're going to spend the $50, $60, $70, maybe $80 to buy the card alone, or you're going to try your luck at a booster pack. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I specifically have a problem with promos. The prices of cards that you can get in booster packs, in the same way, I don't have a problem with, because you can just pull them. You can get them how you want. Some of the prices, I think, are a little bit too expensive. Like, one particular person is trying to charge us $100 for a carbo loader, and I don't think anyone thinks that's worth that much. So that irks me a little bit, but not much, because you can still get it elsewhere if you hunt around enough, and you can pull it from booster packs. So that's not the problem with me specifically. So
No, I'm sorry. The problem is that some idiot's going to spend $100 to get it.
Possibly. Last time I checked, there's still all of them sitting there at $100, so they haven't moved. But you never know. Someone might come along, especially someone who may not know the prices, and think, "Oh, that's a cool card. I want that. I really need that for my deck because someone on the net told me I needed it." So they go and spend the money for it, and then they find out later that they maybe got a little ripped off or something.
Yeah, there's always going to be that person, though.
No.
I still remember a Cloud Chaser PR was on eBay for about $200.
I managed to pick up a playset for $40, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, because I said, "Hey, look, $200."
Yeah.
What do you think about it? I think I put it into the my entire local group and got their opinions on it. It's like, no.
Yeah, not worth that much. But sometimes I like that. I mean, especially as after a promo is released that everyone's after, like the Derpy promo is a good example. People were charging $150 for it, and people were paying that.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess it just proves the popularity of Derpy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly it. I guess one potential way they could mediate this is bring down a promo to Australia you can't get in America. Will it ever happen? No?
I would love something like that.
I think call a boomerang bob or whatever. I make it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm drawing at straws here, but the point is that I guess the way you could mediate that situation of frustration is to do the exact same thing, but just have the base in which the cards are released and in a different part of the world.
I think probably the best thing they could do is say, okay, we've got this promo. It's going to be BronyCon exclusive in the USA. But then we come to Australia and say, okay, we got PonyCon, so we'll make it an exclusive at PonyCon as well.
I would actually say probably PAX Australia would be the best way to do it.
PAX might work as well. That'd be brilliant. Either way, but it's still available to us relatively locally. We might have to pay, a couple $100 to go over there and whatever else and attend the con. But, it's not $3,500 to go over to the USA just to get this card. Obviously you're going to go there and have a good time as well, but for the
Baltimore?
Baltimore, yeah. So it would be good if they had, okay, promos are going to be exclusive at this con in this country, exclusive at this con in this country, exclusive at this con in this country, and things like that, so that all the different countries and locations have their own version of that promo, so that people aren't missing out.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. And I guess another offshoot of that would be sets that we don't get available in Australia or not immediately available. For example, the Rainbow Dash 10s, the Derpy, and Lunar boxes that came with the Defenders of Equestria, the up-and-coming Pinkie Pie tins and Discord tins. I mean, granted, we are going to get them eventually.
But eventually.
Exactly, I guess eventually. And once it's, all the hype is gone, oh yeah, we released this awesome card and pack and it's amazing. People kind of lose interest after a while.
Rock and rave for anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't last long for us.
Yeah, it was 2.5 months after they released before we got it, and that was after our nationals. But that's a topic for another time, I think.
But I will say, on their behalf, they are getting better.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, what I want to leave it from there. Okay, moving on to our final topic. Chaos is magic.
Woo!
What is everyone's thoughts of the February and March events? Do you support playing something different? Would you like to see a Chaos is Magic competitive format in regionals and nationals? Changing up the rules, perhaps? And what do you think of the up-and-coming rule sets? Summerfree, I'm going to start with you this time.
I'm not particularly a fan of different rule sets besides the tournament standards.
Yep.
This is the way I am. I just like playing. I am a competitive player, despite how much I say against that. I am competitive, and I like to be playing just the competitive format. So in this case, it's the Harmony format.
Yep.
I don't particularly hate other formats. I did try to dab into multiplayer, more than 2-player MLP at the start of this, just to have fun with it, and I did enjoy it. But the rules kind of didn't match in with this 2-player MLP.
Yeah, I don't think this is a game that was really meant to work with multiplayer. But anyways, go on.
So again, yeah, but that's all I want to say. I like the core set rules just for competitive play. I don't come from a Magic background, so I don't know about. I never got a chance to play EDH. We actually got a version of that called Elder Dragon coming out soon. So it's hey, we copied Magic. I don't particularly like that. I do have interest in the colorless format, as in nothing has a colorless requirement.
Yeah.
I would that looks the most interesting out of all the formats to me, and that's because I can play a deck towards my liking instead of, oh yay, 2 mains, let's work around, or I can play Trollmakers as friends. Yeah. It just doesn't really interest me.
You're just happy that you can play Standstill in every deck now.
Oh, I don't really use that as often as I like. Just every time you try to win the game, that's all.
Split second, what are your thoughts?
I actually enjoy the Chaos is Magic format. I think it's a wonderful and fantastic idea. I mean, you've got the standard format that everyone tries to be competitive with, and then you've got a format that is open to everyone. I mean, you don't have to have a good or well-constructed deck. You just need to have a deck. And then you just run rampant. I think it's a very fun and nice format for everyone to sort of interact with on a more casual and fun level.
Yeah.
Rather than sit across the opponent going, all right, how am I going to beat his ass this time?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Is that why you don't like versing me?
That was a throwdown.
Oh no! Come Monday, Summerfree, you're gonna see some pain.
Coming next on pay-per-view, Split Second versus Summerfree, winner take all.
The grunge match you've been waiting for.
It's on!
Pony cards. Now that's money I would spend. Torrentails, what are your thoughts?
I quite like the Chaos is Magic format. I mean, at first I was a little bit opposed to it. The double mains were cool, but the Troublemakers, I looked at it and was like, well, all the Troublemakers are going to be way too expensive to play in a normal deck. I'm just going to basically run a normal deck, But I do enjoy it. I like playing around with it, and I really think it would actually work really well if they did leagues. Once a month they started up a new league to go through that month and play your Chaos' Magic deck against whoever you're up against, and at the end of it, give out prizes based on that. And they could definitely have some promos related to that. But it's an enjoyable format. It is, as Split Second said, is, you can just build a deck, have fun with it. It's accessible to everyone, of all skill levels. And it's not about, heavy competition. It's about just getting out there, having some fun with cards that you wouldn't normally use or wouldn't be able to use or whatever else, and enjoying it. That being said, that I'm really looking forward to a couple of the upcoming formats, specifically, as Summerfree said, the colorless one. I think that's going to open up some of the most broken decks we could possibly ever see.
Again,
Looking forward to it.
again, standstill in every deck.
Stencil in every deck, think Carbo
RTO
Loader
in
in
every
every
deck.
deck, and then just pack it full of every Earth Pony, because all the every Earth Ponies are colorless, so you don't have to worry about color requirements. You just Carbo Load everything, RTO everything, you stick in high point problems, I don't know, whatever. You just go nuts.
I would love to see that. You and your opponent flipping 5 cards per face off.
Oh yeah, I'll just exhaust all my friends, and oh look, I flipped my deck. Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I really think it would work very well as a league format. So that's my opinion on it. Anyways,
Karchuk?
For many a time, I've wanted to make a deck based on one theme, and that would be the Stallions of My Little Pony.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, most of the colors and most of the cards I want to use, I'd have to be running a 100-card deck to make it viable.
So another proponent of the colorless set.
Coming April,
Oh,
the
dear.
Stallion Rebellion is going to come, and it's going to happen, and it might be terrible, but I'm going to be shipping it to
Mhm.
hell and back.
Beware
I
of the
am
45 cards of manliness coming your way.
It's going to be
Yep.
amazing. It's going to blow everyone's mind. But one thing I'm also looking forward to is the 2 bits in May.
Yes.
I think that's going to be really interesting. Can I say one thing? Torrentails.
Oh, yes.
Turn.
And the
Wow.
elements of magic, the elements.
Exactly.
Each of the friends there.
I forgot about Torrentail.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's
Oh,
interesting because cards that, like, for example, Standstill, no one's going to use because it's not worth it.
Yep.
It costs you 2 action tokens to use that. Take that, Summerfree.
Yeah. And again, I can't remember what is it, Elder Dragon in June?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Singleton
that
deck,
one will be
yes.
very interesting. I'm very, very interested to see how that's going to work.
Yeah, that's their stab at EDH, for those of you who know Magic.
Which,
Actually, it's Highlander.
Oh,
okay.
well, there you go. Prove that I know Magic.
I actually like that.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, because you have such amazing cards, such as Standstill, which works great in 3s, and, Penny Lane that works great in 3s. You don't have a second and a third backup. You're going to really, really treasure the card and make sure you use it at the right time. It's going to be similar to a Nuzlocke challenge in Pokemon. You're going to come attached to the card. When it's gone, you're going to be disheartened until you get your next awesome card out.
Yeah, this one seems a bit different than the first two, like 2 bits and colorless, because they're basically like, here, we're taking away this restriction, go nuts. This one, we're saying, okay, you've got this restriction now, be careful what you do with it.
It seems to me as perhaps a test that might split off into another format.
Yeah,
And it could split off to another format.
I honestly think that this is their attempt to try and make a Highlander format, but they're testing the waters first to see how it fares.
And Chaos's Magic is the best boat to do that on, basically.
Well, that's exactly it. And I think eventually when the software gets released and the data
If the
starts...
software.
What's that, sorry?
If the software.
If
Touch on wood.
and when the software gets released, it'll be a good data point for Interplay to look at and say, okay, people were enjoying the Chaos' Magic format this month, and this one was not so much, and
Yeah, it'll really help.
Yeah, if they incorporated a more community function within that software, I think you could get a lot of interesting details, and it would lead to even more better rules coming up in the long, and it might end up leading to several other offshoot formats. Whether they end up being competitive formats, I doubt it, but at least it's another. Okay, you've played you've paid Pony Classic. Here's a Pony Highlander, or
Mm.
here's I mean,
Yeah.
here's
Pony
like
EDH. Here's
Well,
Pony
that's exactly it.
Vintage.
Here, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, here comes a game. You have 30 victory points you get to, but your card size are double, and your deck size is double, and you can the possibilities are endless. And I think once the software comes out and the community input is brought even more into the card games development, we're going to see a beautiful thing happen.
Mm.
Again,
It's
if
going to
and
be
when
interesting.
and when the software comes out.
I'm confident they'll have it out, but I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And I personally would not be opposed to them, redoing some of the more popular ones. So, like, if Colorless ends up being a really popular format in Chaos' Magic, they may do it again later on down the line. I think that'll be cool to do. I mean, it'd save them thinking up different things every month as well, which I know can be hard to do.
One thing I'd love to say, though, is if they end up going down the route of regional or nationals for Chaos' Magic, I want the winner to be crowned the King of Chaos. Like, seriously, give him a Twilight Cane and give him a hat and a cup of milk.
They need to make a Discord lampshade for him.
Oh, yes.
Well, either way, I think that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool to see.
He has to win it with Fluttershy, too.
Yeah.
Because he's only in it for Fluttershy.
Fluttershy.
Und Fluttershy. Anyways. So yeah, that's our thoughts on Chaos' Magic.
All right. So, do you want to bring us home there, split second?
Well, I think we've had some interesting thoughts and discussions, and I think we've ragged on Summerfree enough with his standstills, so... I
Don't worry, Summerfree. I love my standstills as well. You're not alone.
So,
they're fun and they're cheap and they're so easy to use.
Yeah, I know, they're amazing. They're one of the best cards ever. It's so good, and it just works well in one of the best colours as well.
Well, one of my one and only response to that is that argument just plumb tuckers me out. That's my cue to exit.
I think that's our cue to wrap up. So,
alright, guys. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast. I've been Torrentails.
I'm
Cut.
Split Second.
And the silent one is Summerfree.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear car sharp though, so I'm Summerfree.
We just standstilled you there, man.
Yeah,
That's why.
well,
Mm-hmm.
sent you back where you
Yay.
began.
Alright,
All right. Well-
guys. Yeah, have a good one.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.